Are we live? Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the latest Streamulous. Hopefully we're live on the correct thing working sort of page. Hopefully it's working. These streams always go badly. Hopefully this one is gonna work. If not, I'm sorry that I failed to stream good this week, but I'm gonna try to stream good this week. We're gonna try to have this stream be a good stream, where we make a tier list. Oh, it seems like it's working. So hello, everybody. This stream is gonna be a little quieter because these streams usually crash for some reason. Because my laptop is really not meant for streaming, and I'm really pushing it to its limit. I normally stream with my phone. Hello, yes, it's working. Oracle says hello. So this time there's not going to be any music. I'm just going to try to keep it. It's just going to be us and the sounds of the vibes. It's just going to be us and the cards this time. So if you want to put on your own music, I recommend it. Or if you prefer to play a game in the background, I think this will be a good stream for background noise, a good VOD to watch while you play a game or something, because there will be no music this time, just to hopefully allow everything to... Hello, streamer. Hello everybody. So today we're going to be ranking all of the decks and hero arts. I'm going to try to explain what the decks are and what they do more than I do usually. Like the last time I didn't explain stuff very well. So I'm going to try to explain what these different decks are. But we are talking about the current ranked meta season and how good decks... what decks are defining the meta is kind of what it comes down to. So I think we should probably start out... it's kind of hard, it's kind of a weird season. Like, this season is super wide open at the moment. I feel like there's so many things that are viable, and every color has a deck that it can play. So let's start with my bias. My favorite color and hero and deck is Big Green. This is what I have played the most. This is what I'm doing well with. I got to 22,066 points with it, which was it's like rank 10 right now or something, if I got there right now. I think this deck is really strong. But people are catching up and making stuff that's stronger than this deck. It's just a deck that I'm really good at. I think that this is a good meta to play Big Green. It's good at playing aggressively and making like draw the out or die boards. Like, just draw the out is the only answer. Like, you make people answer your card or lose. Lately I'm climbing with Uro. There are some ups and downs of this deck. Uro is okay. Uro I would put on a similar level to Big Green. But Uro is a little You already know what I'm gonna say about Marisa! You're gonna poopity scoop on her. You're gonna be mean to her, even though she's super good. I can't imagine playing the deck without her. She's one of the fun minigames of the deck. Okay, wait, so Gil, we're going to rank Ouroboros and Ashura Senku separately. Both of these decks are virtually the same, but Ouroboros, in my mind, only plays Gil and no other cards, and is just relying on Gil, which is really strong. But it's a little inconsistent. Like, it's a little reliant on your opponent not high... Take my offer, give Jury the J rank. I will take this offer once we get to that part. I am so keen on that offer. But I know that there's some extra stipulation that I can't, like... There's gonna be something extra crazy that I can't, like, do. There's gonna be something that ruins it. It's too good to be true. What? I know. I know you're not being on the level with me. You're just getting my hopes up to dash them. But the Gil deck... okay, wait, so let's talk about Ashura Senku as well. Ashura Senku with base, I think, is a tiny bit better than just Gil. Maybe that's cope, but I think it does more. Uro either wins early or loses early. That's for sure. Like, it definitely comes down to if you can stick, like, 2 Gils at once, and they both go up to, like, 5 attack, then it's like, oh, that's going to be really hard for the other player to come back from. But if they're able to answer your gills and the other player gets set up and they're just ignoring the gill, then it's not too big of a deal. Big green could almost be a tiny bit higher, but for now it's going to be the very top of tier 2. I love big green, though. I kind of want to talk about Sekiro Revenge. I feel like I have the wrong picture here. I feel like I don't know if the deck still plays Core Zombie, but I didn't want to fully remake my tier list template. I just was using leftover from last stream. But Revenge, I think, is... I've seen Ashura based like twice this season, so it can't be that good. It can't be that good. Well, I think it's like a tiny bit better than... I've seen a pretty decent amount of it. I've lost to it plenty. I've played so much this season. I have like 600 games this season. So I meant to fully state my bias up top. I am biased as a big green player and a black-green yawn player. Those are the two decks that I play this season. I played a little bit of black-green True Power, but I felt like it was holding me back. I went for yawn instead. Ashura Senku is very solid. Revenge Ashura Senku is a solid deck, but it's probably not any better than Big Green. This is a deck that has a ton of removal and a ton of big number late game potential. Theory, my friend. Sometimes Arrow can defeat an infinite lady deck if they start with a Scorpion monster machine unit. And Gil. Ooh, that's sick. True Power is weak. I think True Power is pretty good. Alright, if we're gonna... okay, so... Sekia has a ton of removal, and but it's really slow. There's a lot of decks that get way, way more momentum than Sekia is gonna get. Like, one of the big examples is, Change Form. There's two versions of Change Form that are way better than Sekia, that Sekia is not gonna keep up with. Same goes for Lock and other things that we're gonna put at a higher tier ranking. True Power weak. True Power is not amazing. Where's True Power? True Power is this one. True Power is the Metul. Because you kind of have to set up like these 10 MP like high... Sekiro will always be good with these evidence cards for a while. Yeah, it's solid. It's going to be tier 2, which is a good ranking for me. I'm like putting it on the same level as Big Green, which is my best deck at the moment. It's the deck I'm best at playing. Anything on tier 2 or above can get to 20, 50 about... It can get top 50 at the end of season, but it might not be the thing that's defining the meta. Same with this True Power. True Power is able to get those ranks. It's able to get the high rolls. Like anytime I lose to the Wolf, I feel like I just didn't draw good enough. But the Wolf is really strong, and so is those other cards like Fire Between Ice or whatever. The action that gives shield and damage to the board is really strong. It's a somewhat simple deck. I think it's kind of missing a card or like the special spice to really push it to the edge of being like super strong. But it's not bad. Maybe it is tier 3. Maybe it's like the top of tier 3. We'll put it like that for now. Let's talk about something that's a little stronger. Let's talk about like something that's actually like meta defining. Burn! This is like a big culprit. Are we going to get another balance change this month? There will definitely be a balance change, but it's impossible to say what it's going to be about because usually it's based on what was good last month, and what was good last month isn't relevant at all this month. I mean, it's a little bit relevant. Outside of that, the deck is really answerable. I think the best thing it's doing is making Metul boards. I lose to those Metal, the guy that I chose to represent the deck, the little Metal, I don't remember his full name. That's why I'm calling him the little picture there. I think he's really strong. I lose to that card somewhat often. That's why it's not ranked super high. You make a good point. I think it's probably not stronger than Ashura base, and if we're putting Ashura at tier 3, then it's not better than Ashura. Alright, so, our first tier 1 deck, I want to give full power rankings to Mono Burn. Mono Red Burn. This is probably not what people expected. People probably were expecting me to go off about the 2-color burn deck the black-red burn deck that's all lady. That's what feels like is running the meta, maybe. But I really think that the mono burn deck has a much higher ceiling. It's much more consistent. Like, you're always going to hit those burn marks thanks to how people are mostly playing with Hawker. It's just really optimized now. And the late game is just crazy. Whether you're playing Thunder Edge or Blazing Wall, the inevitability with Dimitri in particular, you have to play through all 3 Dimitri every game is just a lot. I don't know how anybody is supposed to... I don't know how you play through all 3 Dimitri without, like, specific answers, like Leaf End to reset its stats, or things to, like, seal it, like as a green player. I'm just thinking as a green player, I guess. That's one of the things that are the best at beating a black-green player is Dimitri. And even as a black-green player, you want to draw Leaf End to counter Dimitri. I'm just talking green things. This is one of the best decks. It's putting up big numbers. You can play it in a ton of different ways. You can even play it with Hadoken, which is a little weaker than the other 2 things I said, but it's a really cool deck. There's Kage, and Kage is like a making the deck viable on his own, along with it was Dimitri or Donovan. Donovan's who I'm talking about, is the other card that really makes the deck worth playing. Okay, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the other burn deck since we started talking about her. Do you think Ouroboros Hero Art should be nerfed again or not? Some people think it is still broken. No way it should be nerfed. Ouroboros is very balanced. The problem is the cards that center around Ouroboros. People will argue back and forth forever on whether Gil is overpowered. And the other thing people will argue about is whether Ouroboros is a fair playstyle in this turn-based card game. People will get all defensive about how Ouroboros is basically a turn-based... Yeah, I mean, in this non-turn-based card game, people will say that Ouroboros is basically playing a turn-based card game, which is just silly. I'm all about having a variety of playstyles, even if it is one that's a little slower and a little more action-based. There's nothing wrong with Ouroboros. I think black should be nerfed. There is a dev in chat. There is an actual developer in chat sharing their opinions. Uro is perfectly fine since they added the banish to the summon. Yep, there's a downside to using Ouroboros compared to using Ashura Senku. Eventually you run out of graveyard. Ashura never runs out of graveyard. You gotta play a little smart with the Ouroboros. But anyway, Uro is fair, in my opinion. The lady decks. The lady decks are real. I personally have played a ton of the lady decks. I have like 100 games on lady, and I was able to climb it to 2,000 points. And I've seen other players at like 20, 30 points. Probably not much higher than that. But if you're really bored and really committed, then this is absolutely a deck that is shaping the way people are playing this season. Faster decks are a lot stronger, which Burn isn't exactly, but Burn definitely wins the mirror, thanks to Kage specifically. The Lady deck cannot beat Kage at all. Lady is 1.5. I agree. She's not actually running the game like it feels like, but she is a very, very strong terrorist deck, as Iowa the Boat would say. It'll get some people, but you just have to rush them down early. I'm absolutely always interested in playing people's decks. Like some Ouroboros with some more units, I'm totally interested. I would definitely play... We did play a little bit of Ouroboros. We played... I don't know if I would play it on stream this season, since we played Ashura Senku Ouroboros style last stream. But I would definitely play it just for fun. Just to grind a little bit, just to mess around. The Lady deck is very creative. I think people should probably, for the time being, get used to it. I don't think it's going to be nerfed immediately. I think that it's too creative, and it hasn't shown itself to be as meta-defining so that it will be nerfed this season. It is extremely toxic, and one of the lowest skill decks. I was deciding whether I should say that or not, but this is truly a very low skill deck. You play as many blank cards as possible, cards that do nothing and can be cycled on an empty board, cards that do 1 damage and cycle, just so you can cycle. The deck is ridiculous and wins off of just setting up a combo of a card that adds itself and refunds the cost of its own MP, so you can play the same card infinitely as many times as it dies until the game ends, and just run your opponent out of every card in their deck. If you play Celestial Envoy's Miracle, then the cards will have infinite scaling attack that will eventually win you the game, or you can be really out there. I've seen people play it with purple and play Healing Shadowblade so that they always double defeat at 30. It's a powerful deck. There's no way around it. It's really consistent too. It's hard to answer. They're always going to hit combo, and a lot of the time you're just going to lose for no reason. It is a blight on what is otherwise one of my favorite formats. I think this format is fantastic, except for Lady. Lady is ruining what is one of my favorite formats of all time. Zombie spin that trash of a card. Exactly what I'm talking about. Just comedic deck building. Let's brighten things up, talk about a deck that's strong and fun and good. Well, you know, it's pretty strong. We're giving it tier 3. It could be, see, I kind of want to move Ashura base up a little bit. It's like the bottom of tier 2 in my opinion. It's like decent. It's like holding on there. It looks silly when I move it up though, because we're probably going to have a lot of stuff up there. This is an ogre deck. This deck empowers basic units. This deck discounts all tribal monster units. It would be a woman to ruin. It would be a woman to ruin everything. And her name is Lady. How stereotypical. A lady named Lady. What even? Does anyone know if black does have a negate the card? I think, yeah, it's Objection Rejection. That's a pretty cool card, but you have to be in evidence, so it's kind of limited to Ouroboros or Tesekia. But it's a really cool card. It's just a little slow. Super cool. We're not doing a legendary card tier list today because those take forever, and I don't know if this one is going to go well or not. Alright, let's keep moving. The monster deck is really good. It's got great inevitability now thanks to the new Chaos Dragon, whatever his name. I think his name is Chaos Dragon. Monsters are rogue, by the way. The new monster doesn't help them. It totally helps them. The new monster, the Spinal Dwarf, the Springedent, the Spinosaurus. Fine, you might be right, but I feel like it. I guess I've seen a lot less of it recently. It can be our first rogue deck for now, but I think it's still. I think rogue as well. Yeah, fair enough, you guys. This is why I have chat to like keep me in check. Like I can like talk about the stuff, but you guys can actually help me form the opinions. I'm just here to yap and vomit the words that are being said, to filter you guys a little bit through my lens. I have yet to lose to them. Dang. Okay. Well. Okay. Rogue tier it is then. A deck that is anecdotally impossible to lose to. Maybe it doesn't get there. Okay, let's keep going, though. Let's just move in order. Red Evidence is okay. It's... You know what? Red Evidence is pretty good. I lose to this deck pretty often. It puts up really big numbers pretty fast. But I think it's just a little too fair. Like, it doesn't have the biggest combos. It's kind of like a Sekia story. It's kind of like the same vibe as Sekia. Like, I feel like you're getting blown out by a lot of turn 1 lock players. But no, I think this deck's pretty decent. Other than, like, some stuff like that. It's probably not beating Green, Black, Yawn, or True Power, but I think that's a very good deck. Bro is losing to Red Evidence. I play a lot. I lose to everything. When you guys are like, I never lose to that. Maybe I'm not losing too much to monsters, but I lose to everything here. I will take Ls to every deck here. Well, okay, this one definitely not. Catalina. They printed like some support for this for human mill choral orchestra. There's definitely support for it in standard. With like El Fuerte and the Energy Girls to like cycle those back. Too fair, even with the buffs. Yeah, I'm gonna give it the bottom of tier 2. I feel like it's got the people playing it representing it, but it doesn't have that cutting edge like inevitability. Like, okay, let's talk about Mono Red Celestial Envoy. This deck is sick. I was downplaying this deck on Discord for a second, but I'm seeing a lot of players do really well with this deck. And they play it sometimes with Hardballer, but I saw one person playing it with the phase to blow up for 10. I think they played Hardballer. It would only make sense. But this card is pretty game-winning when it goes off. I think it might be the top of tier 2, if I'm being honest, because there's a slightly better version of it. I think that the Mono Celestial version, the player I saw playing it was like 2090, is why I'm like giving a lot of cred. Like they were really good. They were doing really well. But there's certainly a skill aspect with this deck. Okay, let's talk about the other version. This might not be obvious from the card that I picked to represent it, but Faux Lu. I am talking about the 2-color Celestial Envoy version, which uses this card gets insane buffs and buffs your whole hand based on having enough tribes, and it's the only monster that's really viable, so you use this one red 1-cost to add Faux Lu to hand consistently, and then use it a second time so you have Faux Lu to have a lot of tribes, and you buff up the Faux Lus. I really want to try and make red tribes. Seems good, but not a lot of people are playing it. Yeah, I think it's like a skill. It's a very skillful deck. You have to have it built really well, and you have to know what you're doing. You have to know how to get ahead and end the games with it. But Red Armor, in particular, is a crazy card. It's got freaking Flight to let you beat the lady players. That's kind of huge. And against anything else, once you start dropping Red Armors, you're going to pretty much be winning. And the very best thing you can be doing with Red Armor is adding back Faux Lu. Or whatever, Faux Lu. I don't know how to say this character's name, or what it is, or who they are. But they're extremely powerful. And it's much strongest in the shell of Celestial Envoy Red, making those cards really broken. Insane inevitability, fantastic early game interaction. This is a really good deck. It's like on the level, it's like a little better than Lady. It's like almost tier 1. It's almost running the game. Know how to play the game? Nah, not in my TEPPEN. There is such a great ability to play Ouroboros in this game and pretend that we're good. I also play a bunch of... I like specifically choose decks that are easy for me to play. Decks that don't require that. Like, red is consistently my hardest color, along with purple, so I play red and purple. Like, I play red week 1, where I can, like, have the excuse it was week 1, because red is really fun, but then I'm not good enough to play it later season, usually. With one exception, I can play this deck. I can play the Hardballer deck. Let's make another card up in tier 1. Red's not going to be the only things in tier 1, but I think that Hardballer, Red Growth, is one of the best decks. It is still putting up crazy results. You can still climb with this deck, and people are still proving that it's... So what this deck does is it puts out the best turn 1 board, other than Big Green, along with having excellent interaction to go with that pop-off. It has better... slightly... maybe not better inevitability than Big Green. But on that first board, it's more likely to kill you than Big Green's first board. Red is my best next to purple. Hardballing! These balls are hard to defeat. Yeah, I was thinking about balls becoming hard, and then I was distracted horribly, and I didn't want to talk about it, but now we are, and now we're also moving on. But this deck has been around. I think that this is probably the most likely deck to be nerfed. Red will always be my best color, second would be purple. Yeah, I love that we all have our, like, committed colors. Like, I'm still a green player at heart. Hardballer is the most likely deck to be nerfed this season. Hi, what's up, Isa Burning House? A new chatter. A welcome new chatter. So, at the moment, we're thinking red is one of the... Let's not make this too unclear, though. I think that purple is just as good as red, and the best purple deck at the moment, I think, is Lock. This is the one deck that can, like, get those speedy early game pop-ups as fast as... Now, see, I really don't know which one of these is the best deck. I don't know what the best deck is right now. But I think all of these are on that similar level. Are Japanese players still playing Uro this season? For sure, I'm not the only Uro in the season. I see a decent amount of Uro. But I personally think I see more Ashura with, like... with base, like I was saying. I think that's the thing that puts the deck over the edge a little bit. It's still good, for sure. I definitely lost to it today. Or I lost to somebody playing base today. Today was not my best climbing day. I dropped mostly today. Okay. That's not important. What is important is that Lock is really well designed. All of its cards are super synergistic. They all play into each other and set each other up to get big boards, big control, huge numbers, and with Tenkuha or Devil Trigger, winning is as inevitable as it could be for any deck on here. You have to, like, stop them before they connect their attack. That's so obvious to say. But you have to really stop them faster than the other decks. I think they might cap Hardballer effect to 5 despite the attack stat. Or at least that's what I would do. That would be a really good change. Because right now it's like, it feels like it's one of the best things you can be doing in red. It feels like to play Celestial Envoy, to play the red armor deck, you should probably play Hardballer with it. I didn't describe that well the Lock deck. I don't play the Lock deck, so I don't know necessarily the best ways to play it. Actually, it's really hyper synergistic is what it is. Alright, anyway, the next thing. Breakaway is also a really hyper synergistic deck. The deck with all of these removals, Iris Wilson, the new Akatsuki that adds the highest cost unit and then eventually can remove the board with Marks of Akatsuki. Judge himself for the guaranteed remove anything, and then adding himself, as well as, I think it plays most of the 4s units, it plays most of the 4s units. There was a ton of hype for this deck. This was shown as rank 1 on the TEPPEN channel early on, so it became the most popular deck for like 3 days. But I think you have to be really good with this deck to, like, achieve rank 1 with it. I think it's pretty slow. I think, it might be tier 1.5. It has weaknesses, but it's really strong. It has more removal than any other deck. And that gives it more banish than any other deck. And that gives it a really good matchup against the green-black Bison deck. Because they can stop the green-black Bison player from getting more than 10 units in Graveyard, which will make the game unwinnable for them. Chat, is Breakaway Judge tier 2 or tier 1.5? I don't know. Both locks are good too, Tenkuha or Mirage. Tenkuha for offense or Mirage for defense. It's so true. It's just like... they have it all, those lock players. And it's hard to say which is better. Right? Because both are better against different decks, it feels like. I guess they're both good against the 2-color. I was just thinking about how I lose as 2-color to both versions. Barf. 1.5 for me. Yeah, Breakaway is cool. It's good. It's, like, proven itself to be rank 1 potential. I think we should give respect to a powerful deck. Let's rank it well. A cool deck, a creative deck, a deck I really like. Alright, let's talk about the strongest green deck. Well, there might be one that's technically a green deck that's stronger. Charge Shot. I am aware of who is playing this deck and who is doing well. This deck has gotten to 2100 points in the hands of Kumo Mech, and I think Yui is almost there. Yui and Kumomech are the two players who happen to have English names. It makes it easy for me to follow. Or they happen to have names that are romanized. I can struggle if I'm not paying attention. Yeah, it's a really strong deck. He's so casual with it, though. Just like, if I'm not paying attention, I might have a bit of a struggle. But I'm probably going to crush it. This is like the top of tier 1.5, I think. I think it's not quite running the game like we're talking about with tier 1. I would say it's the best green deck, but I don't think it's top meta. I don't think it's one of the things that people are building to beat. I don't think it's something that people are like, man, Charge Shot is the best deck. I don't like anything that I'm putting in tier 1. I think has the could potentially be the very best deck. So let's put the last deck that I think is in the conversation up into tier 1. It is Wily. I should have put I was going to put Jetta to represent him. I've barely seen Charge Shot, so I can't say how good it is. Well, it can get to 2,100 points, which I think is extremely good showing. Every time I face it, I usually win. Dang, you must not run into Yui. Yui is like grinding and they're really good and they always draw Virgil early. I only have losing anecdotes against Charge Shot. I think it's really good. There's a lot of Charge Shot players and they're not all as good as Kumomech and Yui, but ooh, are they with Mirage Lock? Alright, that's a pretty rough matchup for them. Or Blazing Wall Baron. That's probably even. They can probably beat you sometimes before that. The players I face with it are bad. It's a very popular deck. It is one of the most popular decks because people like X and they like these cards. These cards are cool. Like the way you build your board is fun and creative. It's varied from game to game. You're always looking for those big, easy, spiraling early game victories. It's just an exciting, fun deck to play. But it's a little. I want to say it's RNG based, but the players who are good with it like put up the results. They get to 2,100 points with it. Or I think Yui is trying to. I don't think Yui has done it yet. All right, let's put it a little bit lower, just like a tiny, tiny bit lower. All right, and then Faith, I don't think is that good. I think this deck is really slow and it doesn't have a lot of power cards. When you're playing with Mizutsune, this doesn't even necessarily. This would be like a rogue deck. Let me think. There is a good deck that uses Faith cards. That would be Breakaway, which uses those Charge Ussie plays. Bruh, don't make me talk about X. I think that I see like very rarely people who appreciate the X Ussie. Faith bad. Faith is rogue. Yeah, Faith is super mid. This is not a good deck. There's like exactly one person on Twitter who draws TEPPEN X with like an appreciation for him, and I love that person for doing that. They will make like unhinged tweets sometimes that are like, I love TEPPEN X so much, and I don't think they even play. They just think his design is evocative. My Discord account is Sconchulus. I think if you just search Sconchulus, I'll be there. Otherwise, I think it's just under Sconchulus. Spelt the same way and everything. Okay, back on track. What were we talking about? Faith is pretty bad. You're playing 5 MP for your best play, which is a reset, not a removal, it's just not removal. It doesn't have, okay, let's talk about it, like compare it to another deck that came out, singularized to a single set. Halt, it's a whole different ballpark. Halt isn't amazing, but it's like, you know, the more we're putting in tier 2, the more it looks like Dan maybe doesn't belong. It's hard to say. He might drop later. Faith's starts is so awkward and slow, not worth. But it is a good enabler for Breakaway. That Ajimi card is good to get your irises going and to get just some slow value. Although Ajimi is one of the cards that I see Halt might actually be a meme. I think Halt is okay. Maybe it's tier 3. Halt is pretty good. I don't think there's anything wrong with Halt, but it did... Halt, haven't faced it enough. It's not as good as it was last season when it had Rose and the Explore stuff was able to carry... Or 2 seasons ago, when Rose was unnerfed. But no, people play this deck with the... What people play with now is they use the new discount all cards of the same tribe card. Since it's all humans... I'm not going to give it worse than tier 3. I think it's pretty solid. I have yet to take a Halt matchup seriously. Dang. Alright, I like the whatometer. The whatometer of how serious it is a good indicator, I feel like. But they have Isabella. They can clear your whole board with Isabella. Yeah, I play a lot of red-green, and I have a ton of Ascends black-green, and I have a ton of Ascends in that deck, which just body the Halt players. And they don't even get to use the new Halt Feline. It's kind of sad. Okay, it's probably worse than Ashura Senku. Probably a little worse than Ouroboros, but I think it's still viable. It can probably get to 1900. That would make it rogue, wouldn't it? I'm going to give it the bottom of tier 3 because I think people like the deck and play it pretty good. And it's got cool builds this season. Alright, we've only got, like, interesting stuff left. This doesn't belong. This doesn't get played this season. I don't think Infinite... This was here for Infinite JP, but he's not around anymore, so I'm not going to put him on the tier list. Bob Barbas is a meme. He's not fully formed this season. No high power ceiling with green-purple... And black-purple also has a low power ceiling. I mean, black-green. Bob Barbas is thankfully not around. Halt is not viable? Alright, for you guys, I'll move it down to the top of Rogue tier. I really think it's not that bad. I see it pretty often. I think it's the bottom of tier 3. That's really how I feel. We'll see how we'll come back and reconsider at the end of the tier list. But for now, I think it's okay. Bob fell off. Yeah, Bob, cool card, but really unviable this season. I hope they print more demons for him because it can be fun. He's always funny when he's around. This would be for Mono Yawn. I'm not even gonna rank Mono Yawn. But what we will rank is obviously green-black Yawn and green-black True Power. That's what I want these two to represent. Let's talk about green-black True Power. This is not one of the best decks in the game. It's not, like, it is one of the best decks in the game. But it's not arguably top 1 like these other 4. The 4 I have in tier 1 are arguably all top 1. But I think Green-Black Bison is just holding on there. Kage, my beloved. He's so cool. Sculpt, play your Halt right now. You guys, I moved it down. Did I not move it down? Okay, fine. I'll appease you guys. You're playing hardball. 1.5 for Green-Black Bison. He is extremely meta-defining and has sped up the pace of the meta so that people can win before Bison is online and makes the game unwinnable. That's a big part of why Thunder Edge, Celestial Envoy, Thunder Edge, Change Form, Lock, and to a lesser extent Burn are all playing so aggressively, like with Tenkuha, with Thunder Edge, with Change Form. It's to beat Green-Black Bison, which makes it the best deck that's getting countered by the meta. I want to give it tier 1, but it's just not fully quite there. I think Burn might be a tiny bit lower. I don't know what I think the very best deck is. I don't necessarily think it's Change Form. I guess it probably is just something like that. Yeah, I really don't know which one is the best one. The top 1 deck. It's really hard to say. I didn't realize that Bison gives your hero damage taken -1, and that stacks, which is broken AF. Let it burn! I love the burn hype. My hardballs hit too hard. Yeah, we'll leave hardballer at number 1 and burn at number 2, I think. But burn especially, I have it here as one of the number 1 decks in the game, but it's not easy to play. Just playing it is not going to carry you to top tier. You gotta be kind of good. You gotta learn the deck. It's a very complicated deck, compared to other. Even Lock is a little complicated. I think that. Just sent you a friend request on Discord. Heck yeah, I will accept it soon. Okay. Let's keep moving. Explore Purple. This isn't really around anymore. Partly because of the speed of the season. Like exactly what we were just talking about. This is going to lose bad to Green Black Bison and all of this fast stuff. It doesn't stand a chance against anything in Tier 1. The Rose nerf was pretty bad for Explorer. I honestly feel like Explorer is kind of rogue tier. I would honestly put it below Halt but above Faith. Faith is like bad. I don't feel very good about Explore Purple. Explore Red, though, I think is going to be, like, in Tier 3. I think this deck can still do the thing. It can still put up big numbers. It can still win, if they play good. It can still, like, use Roaring Typhoon. Explore Purple, hardly knew it. Hardly knew her. You were supposed to say hardly knew her. Cloggate need a buff. That would be so awesome. But he's amazing. He's one of the best cards they've ever made. He's one of the coolest cards ever. Cloggate need a buff, though. You truly already fit in, Iza. People always say that stuff needs buffed when it's one of the best things ever. So you sound just like a classic chatter. I've been testing Explore Purple with the Overload Virgil Summon 6 card, and it's got potential. I was thinking about putting the Summon 6 Virgil on here, but I guess it would have just been in the meme tier. I should have put it on here just to rank it, though. Red Explorer is cute. There's something there. Yeah, it's viable. We're not going to say it's great, but the players who love it will still do stuff with it. You can try and high roll people with Ken. It probably won't work, but at least you'll be able to like get some. They even buffed that one card. They even buffed Kimberly. Kimberly's kind of still not that good though, but it's decent. It's okay. Moving on to the next deck, which is hopefully better. Frenzy's like a tiny bit better. But it's so simple. I kind of feel like it's the top of Rogue tier. So what Frenzy Purple does is it plays in a specific order to set up these strong death effects, which spiral you more value. But if people can seal or reset specifically the card that is in the picture here, his name is Steven Chapman, I think, then the deck has no momentum. Usually that's hard to do, though. Usually that's like the main thing that you're focusing around. You're never going to let them not stop that. You're going to do everything you can to make sure that goes off. It does have a lot of inevitability. Those Kent Swanson... No, that's the other guy. Those Kenny... The big guy that stabs through you for 3 damage is pretty good. I forgot Frenzy existed. Base Explore Purple is just Rogue, but the summon with the 6-cost Virgil is better. I'm new, I have no brain. You can do it. Wait, red is perfect. You can do it, I believe in you. Red is fun. You should try Monsters. Monsters is a really fun no-brain deck. It's not very good, but it's a fun no-brain deck. You should try the Zinogre deck. Frenzy Nerg deck is pretty good. Yeah, I feel like it's a tier 3 deck. It's a little better than Explorer, I think. Not better than Ouroboros. We'll leave it in tier 3. It's not that great into this meta. They're just one step behind unless they play Sean D, which I would do. You know, I've seen more people playing Sean D, and it seems like it's kind of paying off. It kind of lets them catch up with the speed of the meta a little bit. Sean D kind of seems smart. I hadn't really thought about it. Okay, we're almost done with just the decks. Then we'll talk about hero arts, because we still want to go for close to 2 hours. The last... Is this the last purple? Okay. Purple 4s. Just normal purple 4s without breakaway. Without breakaway, it's not as interesting. I don't feel like ranking because we already ranked the breakaway version. So we're not going to rank that one. Breakaway Morrigan or Shadowblade Morrigan. The Morrigan deck is awesome. The Morrigan deck is so cool, but it's very inconsistent. You have to get lucky. You have to find those opportunities. You have to draw good, first of all. And then you have to find the opportunities where your opponent sets up those like... You have to hit 2 units at once, pretty much, and have a good hand. I think Ouroboros is tier 3. I think it's, like, pretty good. I think it can do well, but it's not as fast as the other decks need to be. It's very feast or famine. What's tier 1? We're almost done. We're gonna try to put these last couple up here, and then we'll talk about it. Spike Launch, the Tim Kale deck. I don't really see this that much. I think it's actually a little worse than the Morrigan deck. Because the Change Form deck has stolen all of its thunder. All of the best cards from the Spike Launch deck are being used in Change Form now. So I think I'm going to put it pretty low. It's a little better than Explore Purple, I guess. Change Form Ascend. This is still Change Form, unfortunately. It could be Raging Demon, but this is also a rank 1 potential deck. Your mom. Willing to give Uro 2.5. We could move it up a little bit. I joined TEPPEN because evil Ryu, but stayed for Kage. That's a classic story, I feel like. People discover more that they love in the game than just what they expected. So this version of Change Form, a little harder to play, I feel like, than the wily Jetadoma version. A little slower and a little more reliant on your opponent not having infinite blockers, so it's going to lose harder to Green, Black Bison, and to Lady. Because it doesn't have those inevitability combos like Billion Sword, or... I'm pretty sure this build doesn't run Billion Sword. But it's still got to rank 1, and it's still really strong, so I'm still going to give this guy... We'll put him right below Lady. I'd move Morgan into tier 3. They can compete a little bit. You know, the more I see the deck, the stronger it looks. It is a really cool deck. I will gladly, like, give respect to this deck. If Oracle is, like, stepping up to bat for the Morrigan Demons, it's a really cool deck. Its big weakness is just drawing well and finding a good opportunity. But if it finds that opportunity, it's probably going to win. Like, I lose often with decks that seem like they should be better just because they hit their combo, and the combo's huge. We'll put it at the bottom of tier 3. I don't necessarily think it's better than Red Explorer. Alright, Bison Loop. This is Dark Axel's deck. Specifically, this one's for Dark Axel. He's the biggest innovator. He's the most committed player to playing this deck. This is add back Billion Sword with M. Bison, summon M. Bison over and over again. He would say it's a meme deck. Not viable at all. But I'm pretty sure he got to 1,800 points with it, which makes it a rogue deck. Happily a rogue deck. That's the only ranking I could possibly get it. Imagine next deck is good guy deck. That would be a good... I hope that they continue the story of world domination. Because I want to know what's going... I want to know what's going on with Miria. She's like influencing the evil particles from the background, but she hasn't actually stepped forward. She's clearly influencing Bison to take control of everybody with the psycho particles, but it's just alluded to so far. She hasn't actually made her presence known. The Bison... No! Mimi deck. Okay, we'll put it in meme. Dark Axel will be happy. That's what he wants. What is that sound? The Mimi deck? What? Dizudge, it's been so long. Good to see you. Let's see, we only have... the last one I want to put up here is I don't think that the Colonel deck has enough support. This is my plea to Gung-Ho to print more machines for red. The only sound I hear, what is that sound? The only sound I hear is a creaky ceiling, which is my neighbor's. Okay, so this is what I have for the current meta. I think it looks something like this. I think we can say that the Growth Hardballer deck is probably the #1 deck. Um, yeah, no, I feel pretty good about saying that. It's either that or 0. So I think I would have the tier 1 exactly like that. Yeah, tier 2 are all decks that are, like, able to get to, like, rank 1. Or, ooh, Lady can't get to rank 1. Lady cannot get to rank 1. But she's a really important part of the meta. Red Machines just needs more mana refund outside of 0. It has so many cool cards. Burn Rooster is so cool. 0 is so cool in a Machine Tribal deck. It's got frickin' Biggest McCheeses. You know, Stantler. The Pokemon Stantler. It looks like the one with antlers. I don't know what he's talking about. I think he's talking about the static sound. I didn't know there was a static sound. My microphone might not be plugged in very good. I don't know. Alright. Okay, so we finished the first tier list, I'm pretty sure. Let's double check the tier 2 looked really solid to me. Dan's kind of overrated here a little bit, isn't he? Let's move Dan down to here. I almost want to move True Power up, but probably not. There's a lot less that's bad this season. Almost every supported archetype in Standard is viable. It's an amazing season. It's so much fun this season. I'm really happy with this season. Tier 2 is, this can get yeah, it can get 2k. Seki can get 2k. I have personally gotten 2k with Big Green. You would move True Power up to tier 2? I really like True Power, yeah. I feel like people are only getting better with it. If we're saying it can get to 2k, I think True Power can just get to 2k once people get really good with the deck. I think it's capable of doing that. There's like a sound. Wait, let me turn my volume on and listen to it. Let me see what it sounds like. You would move True Power up to tier 2? Oh, there is kind of a sound. I guess it's usually... There's like a staticky noise. I don't know if I can do anything about that. I think it's too late. My recommendation, I gave this recommendation up top. Put on your own music. I chose to not put on any music for this stream because the last stream crashed. I thought that maybe that would help a little bit. Or play a video game in the background. I do that all the time while watching tier lists. Because we are now moving on to tier list number 2. This one doesn't have as many things, I don't think. This one had like 28 things. There's about 30. I guess there's about the same amount of hero arts. So let's jump right into it. Let's jump right into what's good, what we were just talking about. The decks that are defining the game right now. Change Form gives all units +1/+1 on the field and in the hand. This gives so much inevitability and allows you to rush down the game faster than stall decks can survive to their win condition. This lets you win faster than other decks can compete with. The other thing that I want to put at the very top, Thunder Edge. Thunder Edge is the best thing in the game right now. This is the best hero art. This is the one hero art its days are numbered. This is the one hero art with a target on its back, in my opinion. Giant Killer is Giant Killer. Giant Killer is a player who used to always change their name to the name of the most recent giant that they killed. So they would make their name something like Thirsty Killer, or Iowa Killer, or Sconchulous Killer, even, if they beat me and I was a named player. Which I suppose at this point I kinda am. Gooning tier list, let's go! I'm disappointed. We Thunder Edging. Dang, both of you are on the same page. Chat is in sync with each other. Can someone enlighten me about the fiasco about Stop Killing Games? Stop Killing Games is... well, because they're killing they're killing games. That's the problem. There's so many games that... It started because of The Crew, which was which was just a single-player racing game, I'm pretty sure. One of my friends was really into The Crew too back in the day, so it's kind of sad that he can't play that anymore. They just stole the game away from you, and we're like, I'm not the best person to describe it. I don't know all the other. I don't know all the nuance. Thunder Edge is so good. All right, let's try to stay focused. I want to talk. I would love to talk about stop killing games, but I'm not smart enough. But it's almost kind of like an unfeasible thing at this point. Like the new modern infrastructure of games doesn't really support like long-term. Like I just bought a game digitally that I could have bought physically, and I was like, I'll just have it for as long as I have it, It's about stop making games online only. Yeah, there was this game that was online only called The Crew that had no reason to be. It was just a single player racing game with a ton of content. It was like the type of racing game that it could be your racing game forever. It could be the one car game you ever play. But then like 15 years after, or like not 15 years, it's not that old of a game. But like 8 years after it was released, they just pulled everybody's access to it. This full price $60 game. That's bad, Scott. Yeah, I should have bought it physical. I bought Donkey Kong digital. I'm just going digital. I don't know. Because I feel like I'm going to hold on to my Switch 2 as long as I can. I'm going to probably, like... I intend to make this Switch 2, like, a memorial... not a memorial. Not a memorial, but I intend to have all of my games forever. Okay, let me see. Chat's kind of popping off about stop killing games. Blazing Wall in tier 1? I don't know if it's that good. It's pretty good. I would put Blazing Wall in tier... Okay. Blazing Wall can be tier 1.5. Wait, let me catch it. As much as I hate Thunder Edge, also hated that card with Russian Shield as a machine unit, I think. Hardballer. Hardballer is what we have rated as the strongest deck in the game at the moment. Stop killing games is simply about providing a way to the consumer to keep a game running post its commercial lifespan. Because if you buy something, you should own it and have it. Dude, if Stop Killing Games could make them make a TEPPEN offline, then it would be the greatest thing. Because truly one of my great anxieties is that one day TEPPEN will end. That's not an anxiety, it's a reality. But I'm just sad for the day when it happens, and I won't have anything except my channel to remember the good times. Which is a big part of why I'm like so consistent. It's because I want to memorialize my favorite game of all time. Hadouken! Yay! Yay, Hadouken! It's killing time! Making me think of... sweating bullets! Because if you buy something, you should own it and have it. Yes, I fully agree. There's no justification for taking things away from people. Like, lying to people and taking things away, it's messed up. But let's try to focus a little bit. Fight Against Inner Demons... it's not very viable. It adds 2 cards to hand. One is a destroy, one is a +2/+4. But you have to pay the MP for them. That's kind of unfortunate. What, on the other hand, is very viable is Tenkuha. Is viable with the best purple deck, Lock. It gives 1 unit +2 attack and combo, which allows you to win the game faster than any other deck can, which is in common with the other things we have up in tier 1. It does the same thing as these other things. So let's put a complement to that and have something that does something slightly different. Mirage Decoy is also top tier. It can play the best purple deck. It's still really solid after its nerfs. It has a very wide range of what it hits. It's very meta relevant. It catches a lot of things and it slows down the right decks. Like, it's especially good against True Power. Let's put True Power up here. The green-black True Power is really bad against both of these lock decks, which is why it's in tier 1.5 and not tier 1. Part of the reason. I would also put Yawn on the exact same spot as True Power, because it's the same deck. I think the Yawn version is a little less popular at the moment, maybe a little harder to play, maybe a tiny bit lower ceiling, but it's a lot more consistent, and it's faster, which is important. So I think the Yawn version of green-black is really strong. I'm still waiting for the Evil Ryu skin to be re-released. Everybody's still bummed out that they took Evil U used to be available year round on this one set for free. I mean, not for free, but you could use the free play currency to spend on Ryu, and they took him down. Everybody was really mad when that happened. That's one of the worst moments ever. I'd love for these computer card games with campaign modes to, let us play them offline. Yeah, I really hope that TEPPEN is one day immortalized in an offline version. Like X-Dive was. And X-Dive didn't even deserve an offline version. I know we all skipped reading the EULA thing, but buying said product should let us own it, like cars. Says a random Street Fighter quote. Let me think of one. Unending sadness, unending sadness, unending sadness. Whatever guy says. I think whatever guy says when he dies in Street Fighter 4 is funny. Anyway, Temptation. We've gone on for a while. It's hard to stay focused on the second hour of tier lists. The first hour of tier lists, we did a really good job. Let's try and focus up a little bit and get through this. Temptation. It's a good hero art. It's playable in where did we put Halt? Halt we put in Rogue tier. So we'll put Temptation in Rogue tier. It's only okay. You can also play it in Lady, if in the dual color Lady deck if you're crazy. It's a cool thing to do. Rakoha, please fix this. It does not deserve to suffer for its sins anymore. It does 8 damage at max, which is nothing. This is not relevant. It is so low, such a low ceiling. TEPPEN could have private servers that... it would be cool if we one day became like a true Discord fighter. Like to try to tell people about TEPPEN and be like, come play my Discord card fighter. That would be kind of fun. Alright, let's talk about Devil Trigger. This has been reworked. It's not necessarily the best thing you can be doing in any meta deck. Because there are specific synergistic things that you want to have in purple. For Lock, you want to either have that aggression or the synergistic combos and the bouncing with Mirage Decoy. So it doesn't quite make it into the meta deck. But the hero art itself is really strong now. I think because it's not meta relevant, it can only be tier 3. But what it does is it gives you damage immunity, and when a unit is played, it will deal 4 damage to the unit in front of it. Which is just all around very versatile and solid. Having 2 modes that are kind of useful is really cool. I really like the new Devil Trigger. It doesn't need to ever be adjusted again. It's really good now. Kyaku doesn't really do much of anything. It gives +1 attack and heavy pierce to something, which is supposed to be used for toxic combos. But your toxic combos would probably be better protected with Shield Spire or made a little faster with Yawn. Something other than Hyaku. Hyaku is just never good enough to... There's just never anything generic enough to make Hyaku the best thing that you can be doing. It would be great if it did something interesting. Let's put Choral Orchestra up here. I think there should be another tier maybe for like it's okay. But we'll just put it in Rogue for now. Choral Orchestra... Let's make another tier, because Choral Orchestra isn't very good right now. It's alright. We could also collectively make a... Well, there's been a... How do private servers work when it requires some license? Taste the pains of the Hado! Heck yeah. The purple Explore deck I told you I was testing was using Rakoha, and it's good in that. It's definitely the bottom tier, like, hero art. It's so sad to just even think about Rakoha, considering how cool it is in relation to how good it is. Couldn't be more imbalance. Oh, only 3 damage, not 4? That would be broken. I mean, Capcom isn't Nintendo. The likelihood of it being sued is low. Devil Trigger makes your cards damage null? I don't think it does that. That would be unbelievable. There's a card named Devil Trigger that does that. Or there's a card named The Devil Awakens that does that. But Devil Trigger itself doesn't do that. Yeah, making private servers would require somebody to host the game. Units would be insanely broken. Yeah, that would be so cool. That would be crazy. Okay, let's keep going. I caught up on chat. I got a little distracted. Shadowblade. This is the Morrigan deck. This is the Morrigan. This is either non-archetypal 4s without breakaway, or this is the Morrigan demon deck that buffs everything when something is destroyed by damage, which makes it essential for that deck. I guess you can also play Dante in that deck, but it doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem like the best. It's only good in the one deck that it's made for, but it's really cool that it is, just because it's tier 3. We established that deck's tier 3. I was almost going to move it up just because I like it. Quicksilver, it alright. It slows something down and gives it -3 attack. It stalls a unit. Not the most necessary thing. You'd probably rather have Devil Trigger at the moment to get some real stall. It's not full removal. It's just okay. You'd rather have either of Dante's other 2 hero arts for either stall or removal. It doesn't really fully lean into either enough. Ebony, Iron, Ivory, it's pretty solid, but it's not better. It's not. I would give it tier 2 because it's still really strong. It's stronger than these other purple things. Evanescence is still around? I don't think they are, but Amelie is still beautiful. I'd be saying a lot of Kage quotes. My mind has to be Street Fighter. Bro, you're making me want to try to get into Street Fighter for a second time. The first time I tried, I failed. You're making me want to try a second time. Shadowblade has like 4 decks. It has Tribes, 4s, Evidence, and Demons. Okay, I guess we can move it up a tier. Iza's too busy being based in chat, quoting Street Fighter like a boss, like a cool Street Fighter kid. It really makes me want to play. Oh my gosh. I will probably do that while I wait for Donkey Kong to drop. That's what I'm playing after stream. I gotta hurry up. It might drop at 9 o'clock. I don't know. Hadoken, extremely strong. This is playable in the burn deck that we established as top tier. Those quarter circles. Please don't remind me. Don't remind me about my cursed quarter circles. I definitely had a rant a while ago about how I couldn't get into Street Fighter because it's so hard, and I couldn't do the inputs. So I really relate to Zedge. Those type of games are really hard. Hadoken, really strong, really versatile. You can play it with any red deck. You can play it with the best red deck. It's solid. Blackout is what it's called. I paused because I couldn't think of what it was called. Blackout does remove any unit with 4 attack or less. Very versatile. A little limiting. A little limited. You'd rather have Shadowblade or Ebony hitting anything. But it's still very strong. It has a bit of a advantage against Green Black Bison, I suppose, but it's slower than the other 2, so it's not as good as Ebony. It's on the same level as DT, I guess. Breakaway. This one is really cool. This one removes it returns a unit to the EX pocket, giving its cost -2, and then it will play from pocket 1 unit for free, activating its one plate effect. On face value, that is a lot of value. It's extremely powerful, and anytime there is a setup worth doing, Breakaway usually tends to be strong if there is a setup for it. And right now there's an extremely strong, efficient setup using Akatsuki to set up Judge, which is such an absurd amount of removal and value. Breakaway is extremely strong, extremely cool. It is definitely going to be tier 1.5. Kikosho, I actually kind of feel like could use the buff. I might be crazy putting it in the it needs a buff tier, but Kikosho doesn't really do anything. Kikosho hasn't done anything for years. The last time it was good was Green Red Machines, and that was like 3 or 4 years ago. My standards have begun to lower that I'm actually much more okay playing a game the first time on easy story mode. I do have moments where I turn down difficulty on things, but I also try to turn the difficulty up when I get better, so there's a balance. Capcom, where is my Satsui no Hado lore? Where is Eiji Ryukage? There's nothing like that in Street Fighter 6. What a bummer. You have to settle for Bison and Akuma? How overplayed. All fighting games are hard. It was funny, good content. Yay, thank you, what? My mind is only for hype moments. What's with YouTube recommending me Australians? Their accents are funny. You must have liked their accents and clicked on them and listened because their accents are good. Kiko ass. Real. But also a little rude. I wouldn't have said it that way. I'm scared of rank points, but I want to improve. That's so noble. I need to carry my TEPPEN mindset into Street Fighter. Kikosho needs something. It does absolutely nothing. Okay, I'm caught up on chat. Sorry for falling behind, chat. You guys are really active, more active than I expected for the tier list. Kikosho is terrible. It's definitely below Raku. Does nothing. Heart Tank is plus 7 HP to any one unit and plus 4 life to your hero. The plus 4 life is so amazing. It lets you survive so many situations that you shouldn't. It lets you grind people in time. And it's the best enabler for my favorite deck in the meta, Big Green. This is the top of tier 2 for me. Heart Tank is fantastic. Charge Shot is even better. This gives your entire board, when attacking, deal damage equal to their attack to the unit in front, which lets them do a pseudo heavy pierce, and when gaining HP, gain 1 attack, which basically gives all of your attack units infinite scaling attack, making for the absolute scariest boards that can be created in the current meta. Charge Shot is amazing. Charge Shot is so cool. I'm putting it at the top of tier 1.5 because it's my favorite. What is double barrier? Do you mean Kikosho? Kikosho just gives shield to everything. It just gives shields out. Gaia Armor. I'm going to literally put it in buff now. They buffed it like a year or 2 ago to give it its new effect where it has temporary veil. It used to give permanent veil and I think literally nothing else to the whole field. Now it gives temporary veil and plus 3 HP to the whole field. It needs to give damage reduction. It doesn't do anything. If you guys have noticed, I hope it's not annoying. I'm trying to explain what every hero art does for the sake of this being a more in-depth tier list. I hope it's not annoying. I hope that it's what is expected of a tier list. Alright, moving on to Shield Spire. This hero art gives 1 unit plus 4 HP and damage taken minus 1 for 10 seconds. Then, permanently, any damage taken of 3 or less becomes 1. That effect we call the Shield Spire effect. We used to call it Besieged. Now we call it the Shield Spire effect. This is a weird one. It is an alternative way to play Big Green, in my opinion. And in that sense, it is a lot worse. Because you're not able to activate Marisa on command. You're not able to activate Zangief on command. But you are able to activate Crescent Grizzly on command, so it can make some scary Crescent Grizzly boards. Sounds like a nerf. It was. It really was, even though it was pitched to us like it was a nerf. They were like, check out this cool nerf. Where's the Phineas and Ferb? When are they going to get the freaking platypus? What color would Perry be? He'd hopefully be green. No, he'd be purple because he's sneaking around and always going in tubes and stuff, underground or whatever. He's always... Doofenshmirtz, that would be crazy. Doofenshmirtz would be one of the strongest black cards of all time. Shield Spire is tier 3. It's okay, you can play it in a meta deck, but it would be a worse version of that meta deck. What if Gaia Armor gave permanent Besieged for like 5 or more hits? Permanent high Besieged? That would be so good. Is teal more of a green color? Teal is like my favorite color, girl. Girl, I love teal. That's a good color. Teal is like green. Teal is green-blue. Teal is closer to green than it is to blue. You're talking my language with the teal question. That was a good question. Plunderblade steals one card from your opponent's deck and adds it to your EX pocket. No upside. It just does a funny thing, an annoying thing. It would be cool if it did twice as much of that. It would be cool if it took 2 cards, so it was twice as annoying, but not any stronger. That would be my ideal buff. It's really bad right now. Devil Breaker. This shit's scary. Devil Breaker is really scary. It has been extremely strong in its current form. It has been the strongest deck in the meta in its current form. What it does is give +3 attack, the most attack that any hero art can give on demand. Yeah, the most attack any hero art can give. Even Wrath of Roken can only give 3. As well as Crush and Spillover. The important thing is, in fact, the attack power, which has made it able to kill faster than any other deck in TEPPEN's history, pretty much. It can't do that right now, but it's still... the potential is still there. It's the top of it all right, I think. Doofenshmirtz has an emotional scarring backstory. He's like the Ice King from... He's like the Ice King from Adventure Time. Let's leave Devil Breaker in Rogue, just so I can properly express that I think it's still really scary. Hey Nico, on the other hand, is not really doing much. It's just alright. This adds 1 of 3 random Nico action, or it adds 1 of 3 random Devil triggers to your hand, or Devil Breakers. I haven't played DMC5 myself. I've just watched playthroughs of it. I don't remember what his... They're Devil Arms, right? It adds 1 of 3 random Devil Arms to your hand, and all of them are decent, but just like Fight Against Inner Demons, you have to spend MP on them. Where did we put Fade? Fade is in Rogue? Fade should be in it alright. It's only okay. Doofenshmirtz had his whole life out of control from before his birth happened, even. That's terrible. I'm sad to hear that. I never caught those episodes. I never saw those episodes. Okay, sure, you can. I don't really know how to rate it. I don't know what its best deck would be, but I sure am scared of it. Sure, you can sure does KO you. It sure does give a unit combo, which makes it do twice as much damage. This is probably just good in monsters. It's probably the top of it alright. Denjin Renki is... It has served enough time in the shit pile. It has served enough time being unplayable. They can make Denjin Renki good again if they want to, but they don't want to. Hopefully one day they will decide to. But what it does is it gives every card in your hand does 1 more effect damage, and this cannot stack. Used to be able to stack, used to be cheaper, used to... even earlier, it used to do 2 more damage and be more expensive, and I don't remember if it could stack at that point. But in its current iteration, it has never been viable in its current iteration, so hopefully they just will throw it a bone one day. It's cool. They occasionally print cards that are clearly meant to be good with it, like Zombie Spin, like Taking Down a Peg, or whatever the evidence card is. Sure, you can needs a buff. Oh, I don't know about that. Sure, you can's pretty scary. Both of his parents didn't show up for his birth. That's too funny. That made me crack up. That's such a good bit. His own mother wasn't there. That's terrible. That's too funny to be sad, even though it is sad. Okay, moving on. Antibody activation, if you have explored 3 times, gives 1 unit shield and +1/+2. We talked about antibody, the deck earlier, explore the deck. It is a viable deck, a little bit slow, but the hero art sure is one of the things that lets it compete. This hero art makes anything into something that can win you the game. Especially if you use it on something like Ken, that has inevitability, something like an agility unit, or Luke, or something like that, then it can be really game-winning. But its deck isn't really the strongest right now. It still has a good power level, though. Genesis! They literally just buffed this, and I'm gonna leave it in the buff now category. I don't know if that's allowed. I don't know if I can really be that... Shoryuken is scary in what? In theory! Shoryuken is scary in concept. The concept of taking double damage terrifies me. No, you know, it alright. I think it's at the perfect baseline. I would never change Shoryuken. It's too normal. It's like supposed to be like, it's like Ouroboros, where it's like it's good in point match. It's good in big red point match shenanigans. Nerf Genesis. Probably the smarter thing to do. They probably shouldn't try again. In concept is crazy. Can't back it up. Put it in buff now. Alright, maybe you're right. It feels wrong, but I'll welcome the input. I'll welcome the input. They should give it agility for a couple seconds. Oh, that's scary. I'm scared of that. That makes me nervous. Agility is already so good. For 5 seconds, I kind of like that. That would be fun. Make it do one instant attack. That would be super toxic and cool. Shoryuken does one instant attack. But you have to increase its cost by 3 at least. Make it cost 15 at the least. And it can do one instant attack. Make it like a true unblockable, unreactable, invincible super. That'd be kind of cool. Ultimate weapon. I feel like this is rogue tier. I feel like it's a little better than It Alright. It's like, you know, I can't really defend this one, but it adds an explorer. It adds the best explorer. I'm literally thinking of. I was like, I know I see rocket launcher all over the place, and it's because there's a lot of people who play the nemesis that explores for rocket launcher. I do see a little bit of rocket launcher, but not a whole lot. I guess it's alright. It used to do pierce damage, and that's when it was really good. They should give it back its pierce damage. Oh my god, what? That's really scary. It should not give heavy pierce. Heavy pierce combo on its own would make any deck scary. It would make any unit like the scary. It would make everything unfair. Rocket League. Nobody is launching rockets. Yeah, it'll be an It Alright. It's like strong enough. It doesn't need a buff or anything. But not even the black players are launching their rockets anymore. Alright, let's keep moving. Ouroboros. It's a little simple. It's not super complex. But it does the job real well. It does summon those units that win the game. And we can't ask it to do any more than that. It's not doing it amazingly right now. It's doing okay at doing it. So we give it respect. Tier 3 for Ouroboros. It summons a unit from graveyard and gives it on remove. It summons the highest cost unit from graveyard and removes it from grave on death. Next, Great Divine Intervention does 3 damage to all enemy units and heals 2 damage to all of your own units. And if any unit is destroyed by the effect, it is removed. I would put this in buff now as a joke if buffing it was possible. But anytime they buff this, it is immediately too strong and needs to be nerfed again. So we're just going to say it's alright. I don't think it's rogue. In standard, I don't think it's worth doing. We're going to put it really low. They can't give heavy pierce like that to red. Too dangerous. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. They should totally do it, Yawn. I'm scared. I know you work for Balance What, so I'm scared of what the next season is going to look like. Alright, Darkness Illusion. I kind of like this. I kind of like Darkness Illusion sometimes. Sometimes I'm fighting a Halt player and they go for a Darkness Illusion on my big green units, and I'm like, whoa, that was really awesome. And then I beat them anyway. But I do get impressed. Sadly, there's a lot more unviable hero arts than there are unviable decks. Almost every deck in Standard is viable, but not every hero art in Standard. Ooh, Celestial Envoy, though. This is going to go really high. This is going right up there. This is a high tier 1.5. This is probably right below Charge Shot. Celestial Envoy, every activation for 18 hero art points gives all units plus darkness. Did stream die? Did I kill stream by accident? Hopefully it's still fine. Let's try to hurry up and wrap up. I'm getting too distracted at this point. Okay. Dive Attack is still good. Dive Attack is rogue tier. It is strong. It can kill. You can play it in Burn if you're crazy. You can play it in Infinite Lady. But the nerf really mattered. The nerf to make it only +1 attack and... No. Still does +2 attack, but it's Crush for 1 turn. Did I mention they should buff Thunder Edge? I'm really scared for what's going to happen next season. I can't even imagine what a buffed Thunder Edge would look like. Any stronger than it is now. It would have to give instant attack or something. I don't even know. Dive Attack, the Crush 1 time only, is almost not worth it when there's stuff like Thunder Edge around. That's the big deciding factor. Wrath Awoken is also here. Wrath Awoken needs a buff immediately. They're scared of it because Flight is a scary keyword. It used to be toxic back in the day. But I think there's a lot of removal now. I don't think there's any reason to be scared of Wrath Awoken, but Dear Balance team. Give Dive Attack 13 seconds of Crush again. But why? That's really a bad idea. Instead of split damage, make it the same damage to all. Then I can always get my direct damage. I would do 4 streams playing Thunder Edge if they made that change. If Charge Shot can have 13 seconds, Dive Attack can too. That's a really good point. Because they are kind of two sides of the same coin at this point. Charge Shot is definitely getting the favoritism, and Dive Attack is very irrelevant because of how it's not allowed to be. They definitely need to take a look at it again. Low Rogue tier, I think it's semi-okay. Spike Dive Bomb, Frenzy. This is kind of okay. This is kind of as good. We talked about Frenzy. This gives +4/+4 to 1 unit, and after attacking, destroys the unit. This is only good in Frenzy decks, because those decks get stronger death effects if they have higher attack. So using Spike Dive Bomb gets you better payoffs in the Frenzy Black deck. That said, the Frenzy Black deck is only okay, so we're going to give it a low tier 3. It's a little better than Shield Spire. Spike Launch, really strong. The deck isn't very good, though. I think we gave it a Rogue. I don't remember. We're just going to put it in Rogue. This does up to 14 damage, equal to the amount of health sacrificed. So it's an amazing control tool, but playing control this meta is not necessarily the best decision, especially considering what you give up by not having Change Form or at least Spike Dive Bomb. Despair, Wail, and Perish. There is not exactly a suite of good summonable 4s for Despair, Wail, and Perish to use right now. It could only be an It Alright, implying that there is nothing that it's doing. Like, it's not able to play right now, but it's strong enough. It doesn't need to be buffed ever. I don't think. Despair is highly powerful. Summoning a whole field of 4 or less MP units for 28 AP at no MP cost. Extremely strong. Can be game winning. Uncapped Spike Launch. We remember those days. I don't remember those days. I never had to deal with that. TEPPEN Season 0 was a fever dream. I wish I could have played for that. It sounds hilarious to reminisce about. But I wasn't around for that season. Okay, we're almost done. We are almost done. Okay. Bringer of Nightmares is okay. It's not as good as Sekia for the Revenge deck, so once again, there's a deck built for it, but you're giving up something by choosing this over the other options. So I think I'm going to give it a low tier 3. Because it still has cards that it can use. Chat will have... If chat tells me I'm wrong, I'll move it down to rogue. We'll see if it needs moved later. Dancing Dead can be played with Infinite Lady. That's the one thing I can think of. My fever dream. How nostalgic. Nostalgic for being sick. Let's see. Dancing Dead is rogue tier. You can play it in the lady deck if you want to play a weaker version of the lady deck. It's on the same level as Dive Attack. Ooh, Dark Invitation though. You can play this with Battle Negal deck, or you can play this with M. Bison deck. This is a high rogue tier, in my opinion, at best. Abel was in the Spike Launch deck. The 4-gain life. That's hilarious. You sacrificed life with that with black cards, then you gain them back with green cards. I know it played Iris, the 1/6 Iris instead of the 1/4 Iris. That's a little gross just to think about. That card would be generically played in basically every green deck if it was a 1/6. Alright, let's wrap it up. Dark Destruction. This was one of the best decks last season. It's still solid, but it's not stronger than Sekia. Sekia is better at allowing Revenge to keep up with these higher power things. And Dark Destruction is not going to fill that same niche that we need to have filled. We need to go faster and put out bigger numbers to beat the combo decks. Just removing them once or twice isn't going to be as worthwhile as Sekia is going to be in that deck. Still, it's Dark Destruction. It's very strong. We're going to give it a low tier 3. A mid tier 3, I guess. Goes right about here. Where's Sekia? Where'd I put Sekia? Oh, all of the Akumas are down here. Let's rate Sekia first. Dark Destruction destroys a 5 or less cost unit. Sekia destroys all units with 3 HP or less. 4 HP or less. I correct myself. And gives 2 random units in your hand -1 HP and +1/+1 for each unit destroyed. It only gives 1 instance of the HP of the MP effect, but it gives multiple instances of the HP effect. It's a little confusing, but it gives you big numbers efficiently and is niche removal. You mostly play it to speed up your units in hand and to make them bigger, and at doing that, it is one of the centerpieces of the Revenge deck. Revenge is... Where did we put Revenge? We put it at like a low tier 2, right? We put it in tier 2, I think. Yeah, Revenge is in tier 2. So we'll put Sekia at a high tier 2, right behind Big Green, which is one of its best matchups. It's really good at beating Big Green. Or it's pretty good at beating it. Alright, Ashura Senku is really good. It's just slightly better than Ouroboros. Those are like 2 of the best things in tier 3. We're just going to leave them both in tier 3. Nerf Sekia, that's so rude. I remember OG Big Resonate. I actually do remember OG Big Resonate. With Hasenko, however you say her name, I really don't know. Euro tier 3, I respect that as a black player. You guys are working hard. Euro players are hard working this season. Like, people will downplay, people will like diss on Euro players, but I think it's a hard working deck this season. Orchi Machine Armor is cool. Heck yeah. There's no reason for it to exist except to be cool. It's definitely not something from her game. It just exists to be cool. And the very last thing we have to rank here is Raging Demon. There are cards for Raging Demon, but they are outclassed by Change Form because you really need that fast inevitability. It's a repeated story. I've said this a bunch of times, but giving up Change Form is not something you want to do this season. Because you need to beat stuff faster. You can't just remove all of their threats because a couple of the best decks have an infinite number of threats. So Raging Demon is not necessarily what you want. Still, I'm going to give it the middle of tier 3. I guess I'll put it like right about here. The hero arts here are a little less clear than the deck list was, which is why I'm glad we did both. They both complement each other, I think. The decks especially are the better tier list, but let's see if we should move anything around. Let's see. Thunder Edge is the best thing in the game for sure. The best hero art, the best thing you can be doing. Oh, we should move Blazing Wall up a little bit. Just by one, I guess. No, Hadoken can stay up here. Hadoken doesn't need to move down. I also missed the purple V deck. That was always cool to me. That deck was that deck was so troll. That's like a pure slot machine deck. That's a deck where you're rolling for the 1 in 3 every time. Demon is Rogue. That new Nobunaga is pretty good in my experience. It is very good, but it's best in change form, which is unfortunate. Demon is Rogue. That's pretty low. Oh, you know what? I'll move Shield Spire down. The deck I was describing it with isn't very good. Okay, I think that's a little better. Sakia is tier 2. These 2 generic purple arts are great if you want to use them. I think I stand by all of this. Raging Demon could maybe move up a little bit. Oh yeah, it could definitely move up a little bit. It could almost go up to tier 2, but I don't think so. Okay, then in Rogue, we have Dark Invitation. I will buy any Ryu skin if I have enough. They're so hard to buy. I don't recommend people buy the skins. They're really hard to get. Okay, let's make sure we got all this right. It's wrapping up time. I gotta stop letting myself get distracted. Feel good about Shield Spire there. Dancing Dead should move down to It All Right. Which obviously is a reference to the Family Simp where they drink the beer and he's like, this beer good, but not as good as me beer. Me like me beer better. It All Right. Anyway, sorry for explaining my reference. That was cringe. Do any of these move up, though? Quicksilver's a little better than that. Oh. Choral Orchestra is, like, semi-viable. Alright, I think the tier list is done. I think this is what the tier list looks like. Okay. I always get really tired at the end of these tier lists and have more trouble structuring my thoughts. This one, I talked about everything in detail, actually, instead of just being like, blah, 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 let's throw them up there. So it's actually like a watchable, finished tier list where I talked about what everything does. I think that this tier list looks pretty alright. And I think that this other tier list looks pretty much perfect. I'm really happy with this one. So thank you to everybody who came out to help. I think we're about to be done. The best decks are... Every color is crazy this season. Green is, in my opinion, the weakest color. Unless you're playing black-green, then you really don't have to complain. I'm probably downplaying slightly on black-green, admittedly. But these are my opinions. You defeated a top 30 Akuma. Congratulations. Next stream is the Halt deck stream. Okay, I'll try. I was planning to play 2-color next stream, but we'll dedicate a little bit of time to Halt. I'll practice a little bit of Halt for you guys to prove you wrong. I feel challenged. You have incensed me. So I will do it. I'll do my best to play some Halt. Thank you for giving me homework, you guys. Well, with this, we have a finished tier list. I'll share these on Twitter and on Discord if you want to see them again. They're also in the video. I don't know what I'm rambling about anymore. But as always, thank you guys for coming out. I hope you have a wonderful night. I'm going to go play some Donkey Kong in a few. I hope that you guys can have as good a night as I have had. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Please like the video if you liked the video. Subscribe if you subscribed. Once again, I'm Sconchulous, and I will see you in the next one.